After investing $100,000, $1 million, you're not gonna. And then after a couple of years, a government gonna come in or any sort of department gonna come in, shut off your water, which is really you need to be a farmer to grow your crops and all that. If everything will be gone, then what a person gonna do? Of course, there will be no point to live, right? If everything is gone.
This is the Real Food, Real People podcast.
Welcome back to the Real Food, Real People podcast. I'm Dylan Honkoop, and this is my personal journey all over Washington State to get to know the real people behind our food. This week on the podcast, we talk with basically an almost brand new farmer. He's been doing it for a year or so, and he's got big plans, but he's in a crop. He's growing a crop that takes a long time to realize all that you've invested into it. It's blueberries. Jagwinder Gill, right here in the county where I live, just got to know him, and he's rekindling his family's passion for growing food. It's way back in his family's history, but you'll hear about that, and he's bringing it back, and he's very passionate about what he does. He's also very outspoken about some water issues that the local community here is facing. So enjoy this conversation with Jagwinder Gill, a blueberry farmer in the Everson, Washington area. Also, thank you to our sponsors, Mana Insurance Group. You can check them out online, manainsurancegroup.com. They're all about planning ahead, preparing your financial well-being for whatever could happen in the future, rather than waiting until something happens. Have the tools in place to protect your family. That's what they do at Mana Insurance Group, with locations here in Washington as well as in California and Arizona. The Dairy Farmers of Washington support the podcast as well. You can find them online at wadairy.org. We appreciate their support and their work constantly to be sharing the stories of the real people producing dairy products here in Washington State. That's what they do as well at the Washington Dairy Farmers Organization. You can check it out online again at wadairy.org. Also, Williams, powering your clean energy future and supporting our podcast with a community grant. Thank you to them, as well as the Washington Red Raspberry Commission. Washington Red Raspberries. It's been quite the roller coaster ride of a harvest here in the raspberry world. So, we haven't had any raspberry farmers on of late because they're very busy right now, but soon I'm sure we will be having them on to hear about the highs and the lows of the Washington Red Raspberry season, so look forward to that. Again, we're going to Everson now to talk with Jagwinder Gill and hear about his foray into blueberry farming and all that he's learning and all that he's passionate about. So talk about what kind of food you grow. You grow blueberries.
Yep, blueberries.
How did you get started doing that?
My uncle, he's in farming for past 2002 here. And I've been driving semi-truck as well since 2010. And so last year, to be very frank, I was trying to move to Philippines. Yeah, couldn't do much because of the COVID thing,
Right.
Everything was going in loss. And apparently my uncle told me, why not to get involved in farming?
Yeah.
Yep, so by God's grace, and then last year we got this field, this parcel, and then we've started planting some blueberries. Yeah. And my dad, my parents, basically we've been in farming for past decades in India.
Okay.
Yep.
So in India, what kind of farming did your family do there?
Pretty much wheat and rice.
Okay.
Yep, that's the more often people do over there. Yep.
Yeah. What part of India?
Punjab, northern India.
Okay.
Yep.
So when did your family come here then to farm?
My dad, he moved he moved out of India in 1985 to Philippines. And I born in India, but I grew up in Philippines. So I've done my schooling and everything in Philippines.
Right.
So my uncle, who used to live in the United States, so he invited us here through, all legal procedures and all that. And we moved here in 2008. Yep. And then, first we moved in Fresno, California.
Yeah.
And then we have a relative here in Blaine. They invited us to move to Whatcom County, gave an eye on here, and then we moved here in 2008, and then never want to go again. I love the greenery here. Yep.
Yeah, what was that like moving to this place? You know, I've lived here my whole life, but you grew up in the Philippines.
Like here in the United States, well, to be very frank, I always wanted to be a pilot. And so, of course, aviation industry in the United States and FAA, they do really good job worldwide. So I wanted to get my license and everything from here. And apparently, in 2008, when we had a really bad financial crisis, a lot of school filed bankruptcies too. And then I got admission in one of the name was American Aviation School in Atwater, California.
Okay.
And I got an email, hey, sorry, we got bankrupt and all this. So I was sitting home for like 2-3 months and didn't know what to do. And one of my colleague told me, why not get a CDL?
Yeah.
Start driving a semi. So yeah, since that I've been driving semi, and then since that when I moved here, just didn't want to go anywhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And plus, I love Whatcom County. The way we have the environment-wise, greenery we have, and then all the community people here. Yep.
Yeah, and there's a really strong Punjabi community here locally too.
Oh yes.
So did you already have family here when you came?
Not here in Whatcom County in Canada. Yes, I do have
Canada.
some relatives. Yeah, but we have some relatives here in Whatcom County who really wanted us to move here, and then
Awesome. So it's nice to be a part of that community still, even moving to a totally different part of the world, I would imagine.
Yes.
So talk about the process. You said was it your uncle or something said, get into farming, grow blueberries. How did that happen? Tell the story.
So basically, me and my wife and for my kids, we applied visa for Philippines, and COVID came in. All the flights got shut down, and by that time I was working for FedEx.
Okay.
Yeah, because I sold my semi because I was really ready to move out of and then just want to start something in the Philippines. And apparently, one of our family friend told me, hey, I got some parcel that I can show you. And when we came here, like we say love at first sight, right?
Yeah.
And when I saw this parcel, I was like, yeah, it's great. And then the price was reasonable and everything was great. Yep. And then, we just started by that time. And then some of my friends, they kind of, told who help us to get ready who gets field ready for blueberry and all that. And we just by that time and I love doing blueberry farming. Yeah, and I always wanted to be a farmer here, actually. Because
why do you like farming?
I would say it's in blood. In every Punjabi. Yeah, farming is in blood. Even my son, he's 4-year-old. He loved to be here always in the farm. He loved tractors. He loved all the implements and everything.
It's in my blood too. It must be. It's a Dutch thing and a Punjabi thing.
Because in Punjab, every pretty 80% or 90% Punjabis are farmers. Yeah. Because our parents, grandparents, grandparents, they've been farming for decades. Yes.
Probably farther back than you can track, I would imagine.
Oh, yeah. In 1947, that's the year when we got our independence from British colony. And even before that, all the Punjabis were in farming. Yeah.
There's so much food that's grown there and such a huge population to support, too.
And the main thing is this, we get all the produce and fruits pretty much from California. That's how Punjab is. The soil of Punjab, it grows a lot of things. You can do any type of farming you want to do. Like main crop is wheat and rice, but a lot of people are doing vegetable farming, fruit farming. They've started dry fruits too. Yes.
So you said friends and family who could help you kind of get the land prepped, and then you planted blueberries. Talk about going through that process. What was that like, getting this whole field planted?
It was awesome. Yeah. But when starting, like switching from a semi-driver straight to a farming thing, it is hard because in trucking, we just sit and drive.
Right.
Here you do a physical work.
Yeah.
And yes, it is a tough work, but day by day you learn everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've had good teachers.
Oh, yes.
Did when you were a kid, were you around farming at all, like in the Philippines and stuff?
To be very frank, no. When I was a kid, I really didn't do any farming because I was just only 7 years old when I moved to Philippines. Yes, and my parents, they were doing a financing business in Philippines,
Okay.
and so yeah, they were main in their business. I was just in my schooling and my college stuff. Yep.
So talk about the process with getting a blueberry field started. It takes a while, right? And you got to get. I mean, we can see behind us here the plants and the irrigation,
Yeah.
and all the plants have a carton around them to protect them as they grow. Talk about everything that you do.
So yeah, I mean, if we'll from the scratch. So yeah, my uncle helped me to get in touch with a person named Wayne here in Linden.
Mm-hmm.
So he does everything like getting the land ready for berries and do
Yep.
the hilling and all that.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah, my uncle, he's the one who helped me to get in touch with Wayne, get in touch with farmers equipment with Jason.
Yeah.
So Jason is helping me for the irrigation and all that process get done.
Nice. Yeah.
And then for blueberry plants, I got these plants from Oregon Blueberry Nursery. And yeah, it's a pretty new variety, Calypso.
Calypso, okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much everyone is putting right now as of new farmers, startup and all that. Yes, and yeah, I mean, that's what it is. And my agronomy people, they're helping me to do all the fertilization, chemigation, and then herbicide stuff and all that, yes.
Mm-hmm. So just to back up a second, Calypso, it's a newer variety. Talk about why is it supposed to be good?
It's a hybrid variety. It is produced by University of Michigan.
Okay.
And as per my knowledge, what I've heard, and my dad's friend, they're saying Calypso gonna take the market for the upcoming years, because from the breeding of that plant is gotten from really good varieties, and then they're producing much fruit, good quality, taste, and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, all those factors come in. You want to get a lot of fruit. It's got to
Yes.
taste good.
Oh yes.
And then the plant has to be hardy and healthy and not have issues in
yes.
the kind of soil that you have.
And yeah, based on my research, it's gonna take over the fresh market as well, based on the production and then the quality it produces. Yes.
So are you planning to go to the fresh market or the frozen?
I'm planning to go to in the fresh market.
Yeah.
For sure. Yes.
So will you harvest with machine or by hand?
Well, basically this year I'm not gonna get any fruit.
Yeah.
And then even next year too. And then after 2 years, I mean this and next year, it's gonna be handpicked for a year or two.
Yeah.
And then by that time the plant will be bigger, and then yeah, the machine can go in.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you planted these last year?
Yeah, last year
Okay.
in September.
So it takes what, 3 or 4 years until you really start getting,
Yeah, at least
something?
3 years. Yes.
and then it still takes a few more years until the plants really get big.
Oh
and
yeah,
produce a lot.
what I've heard, and then based on my knowledge, it takes about 7 or at least 8 or 9 years to go to the full production.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like I was telling you earlier, I grew up in red raspberries. Well, that's just 1 year,
Yeah.
which is still kind of scary because you plant and then you got to sit and watch them for a year and get them growing up, and then you can harvest. But I can't. I would boggle my mind imagining, putting in a field like this and putting in all the work and all of the investment and having to wait that long.
Oh yes. I
Before
mean,
you
it
could,
is
like-
really big investment, and then
Yeah.
plus everything goes out of your pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. What's that been like? Is it kind of
it's hard.
scary?
It is hard.
I
Yes,
would
it
be
is.
scared.
Yeah.
Just because it's like, I hope this works. It's worked for other
The
people.
only thing
but
a person gets really good strength to do that big investment out of pocket, because when we look at the plants, that's our future gonna be, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And so that kind of gives you a peace. To
yeah,
be able
peace
to,
of mind, much power. Hey, yeah, because I was noticing last year the plants were like not even a foot tall,
Yeah.
and then when we pruned this year, it was only in March or April, it was all cartons in the field. There wasn't any leaf or anything. When
So
I
they're
saw
growing
them,
well.
yeah, when I saw them, they started to grow and all that. I mean, it is really nice, happy feeling, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
You're seeing what you're investing in, and it is growing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the part that's in the blood, right?
Oh, yes.
When that happens,
Yeah.
it's like, I'm growing
Because
something.
they're part of family now. I always tell my wife, don't think that we only have 2 kids. We got 40,000 kids in the farm as of right now, right? Which we have to take care as well. Water them, feed them. Yep.
40,000 kids. That's
Yep.
a lot.
Yeah. Yep.
So as you're waiting for these, what do you do for the rest of this year and into next year? What can you do while you're waiting? Just keep the water going?
Water, fertilizer, and do herbicides. I try to protect them as much as I could protect them from another portion of like weed growing, grass, and all that. I try to keep them clean as much as I could and feed them as much as I could. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Well, and that's why they're growing so well.
Oh,
I'm
yes,
sure.
and I am trying, because even as of right now, I drive semi full-time.
Yeah.
And then when I get back home, so, basically I'm always 4 or 5 days out of town. And then when I get 2-3 days here in town, then all of my days goes in the field. And then I start like 6 in the morning till 8 or 9 in the night, or until we don't get the sunrise, when sunset.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I don't go home till that. Yeah.
Oof. So you're still driving full-time, long haul?
Yes, I'm a long haul.
So what do you usually haul, and where do you go to?
California, Arizona, Nevada, pretty much Midwest.
Yeah?
Yes.
And what kind of things are you hauling? All kinds of different things?
Before I used to drive a reefer. So at that time I used to do produce and everything. Right now I do dry freight. Yep.
What was that like hauling produce? I mean, that's also connected to the food system and farming and all that too.
I've done produce work for 8 or 9 years, and at that time I used to haul for Canada. I've done so many loads to Canada. Even if I count my miles, I would say I've completed at least 1 million miles.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you like that? Driving a truck?
If the pocket is empty, every job is good.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep.
And a lot of people have found that too, because there's kind of a shortage of truck drivers, right?
Yeah, there is. Well, the main reason of being in trucking, again, I mean, my family. So I always tell my wife, take good care of kids, and I'll do my work to help everything, right? By money-wise, financial needs and everything. So, because what I think, or what I would say every Punjabi thinks, our kids, they're our future.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it is like I've inherited a lot of things from my parents, so I want those things go to my kids too as well. And then of course, as a father, I would love to see my kids passing those things to their kids.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's what farming usually is too.
Yes.
As farms go from one generation to the next.
Yep.
But you're starting new.
You're
You're starting a new legacy for your
Yes.
family.
Yes. Yes.
What do your parents think of all of this?
My dad, he's really happy since we got this farm. And then, even my parents, they want me to do something local instead of driving semi every time. I mean, because I'm pretty sure too, there will be a time when my kids will be bigger and they will want me to stay home with them, of course, right?
Yeah.
I can't be out of my house every time. Yeah, I mean, there are certain times when kids need their father, right? Yes. So
Totally. How many kids do you have?
I got 2 kids.
2 kids.
Yep.
How old?
My daughter, she's 7, turning 8.
Yeah.
And my son, he's 4. He's turning 5 by the end of this year.
So it's a busy house.
Yes, it is. Yep.
And your son already wants to be a farmer.
Oh, yeah.
What about your daughter?
She
like the
loves
farm?
farming too. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. But she's more into trucking because she's seen me driving semi and all
Yeah.
that. Yep.
Or does she want to be a truck driver when she grows up?
Well, as of right now, she wants to be a police officer.
Oh, really?
She wants
Nice.
to
Yeah.
get involved in law enforcement. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And my son, he changes a lot of his mind because he's, again, 4 years.
Yeah.
Sometimes he wants to be a farmer. Sometimes he wants to be a trucker. Or sometimes he wants to be join firefighting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So your family's pretty happy about you being in farming and being close to home. I would imagine your wife is glad when you're closer to home too.
Yes. Because, I mean, since 2011 or 2011 or 10, my dad, he's been looking farms. He always wanted to get involved in that. So
You said he was in business and finance and stuff?
yeah, they have basically a business of finance in Philippines as well,
Okay.
which has been taken care by my mom as
Yeah.
of right now. My dad, he's in the field right now. He's doing some work done, and he he always wanted to be involved in farming because I mean, there are some age when parents, of course, even me as a child, I want them to be sit and take a nice rest, right? Because
Yeah.
what I have, it's because of them. Yeah.
I suppose he grew up farming then too. Is that what you're saying? When he was a kid in
yeah,
India, he was
he's
farming?
been a farming. Yeah, he's done farming. I would say for past, in his life probably for 30, 40 years. Yes.
And so he's back in the field where he feels comfortable.
Yeah, and he loves it. Yeah, he loves to do farming. Yep.
Awesome. So in the meantime, you have to wait for all of these blueberries to grow up
Yep.
and then get ready to harvest.
Yep.
What are your concerns in the meantime? I know there are a lot of pressures that you have to face doing this kind of farming.
To be very frank with you, by God's grace, I really don't have any concern at all.
Yeah.
Because as a person or as a farmer, what I'm trying to get from my plants, they are responding the way I wanted them to respond.
Yeah.
Their growth. There's no wood, otherwise I would knock on a wood. I got 40,000 plants.
Yeah.
They planted last year. Not even a single plant has died.
That's impressive.
Yeah, not even a single plant has died. Yeah.
I know in my dad's mini raspberry plantings over many years that it never happened with those.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe blueberries don't do that as much, but I know there's usually a lot of
Because I'm
transplanting
pretty
and
sure
filling.
some people will think what I'm saying. Because when I'm alone in the field, I do talk to them. Yeah.
I believe that you're not the only person I've heard say that.
I do talk to them, yes. And some of them, I always try to figure out names. But again, it's hard to figure out 40,000 names. Otherwise, I would have called every single by a name, right?
So what do you tell them? Come on, grow faster.
Yeah. And then
You can do it.
I always watch their color. So
Yeah.
to figure out what they really need. If they are thirsty, they need water, then I just, So, yeah, I mean, again, it's just a family thing, right? You learn every day. And then luckily, the agronomy guy I'm working with, Jose Rivera from Skagit Farmer Supply.
I know
he's,
him.
Yeah, he is
Good
really
guy.
good guy. He is really good guy, yes. He helps me a lot in everything, yep.
He's a really smart guy.
Yeah, he is really smart, yep.
As far as keeping them watered, do they take a lot of water or not much or what? I don't know. How much water blueberries take?
That's a good question. But if you'll ask me by gallons, I never counted
Yeah.
them.
Oh, yeah.
But every single zone, yeah, I do water it at least 1.5 to 2 hours per day. So as of right now, I got 30 acres planted, and I got 9 zones. One zone is about 3.5 to 4 acres.
Right.
So yeah, I basically what I do when I start watering, I always watch the top. If they're pretty wet, then I stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is a really efficient system then to do it that way.
Oh yeah,
With
drip
the-
system. Yeah, it is really efficient way because when you turn on the motor, when the water comes into the drip tubes or drip tapes, they only fall down by single drop, right? So a drop second, every second a single drop. Yep.
So you're not putting on too much, and it's not a lot of it is evaporating. Like if you had to put a big sprinkler up or something.
Oh yeah, and then the other thing I do, I always water them at night.
So you don't lose as much.
Yeah,
to
so in that way,
evaporation.
I don't have to waste or, spend more water. In that way, when I do that at night, the soil holds the moisture the most instead of watering at the daytime.
Yeah.
Yeah, like by this weekend we're having 100-degree Fahrenheit, right? So what I was planning, I'm gonna water every single day, but every night instead of the day, just to hold the moisture as much as I could.
So what about the future of water? I know there are concerns about it here in this area, about whether there will be water available.
Yeah, I've
Are you
read
worried?
so many things. Yes, I am so much worried about it because, again, that's the thing. I've started last year. I've invested all my savings and everything. Even my parents, they're helping me a lot to do the investments and all that. So after investing that much money out of pocket, and then a department suddenly gonna come and then they're gonna say, hey, you cannot water. I mean, of course, that's not good. They should think about this thing again, as we were talking before off the camera. Whatcom County is one of the largest producer of berries in the world. If they shut off the water, Whatcom County gonna lose that badge or that status
Mm-hmm.
by the world, right? And we have so many brothers and sisters from Canada who are farming here in Whatcom County too.
Yeah.
And we are producing so much berries out of Western Washington. And I think the government should think positively for that to save the farmer. I'm not against of any other community, but I would say government should think something instead of being a political statement or play politics. They should think to save every single community instead of just focusing on votes and all that,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
What do you think the solution is? Can there be a solution?
Well, yeah, there are so many solutions if they would, if the government wants to, because first of all, every single person pays so much taxes. I mean, we can't say the government doesn't have money, right? They can build up more reservoirs.
Yeah.
Because if we will talk about the fish, let's say, just an idea. So I drive again as a driver, a commercial vehicle produces more pollution, not a farmer.
Yeah.
Because first of all, we got a drip system. We only put, when we turn on the water, it goes by drop.
Yeah.
We are not just, throwing out the water very often and all that, right?
Yeah.
So they can't say that. I don't think it's a applicable thing. They will say if they will shut off the farming water, it'll increase the water level and all that. Of course, it's not going to do anything at all. Well, and then the other thing is this. Let's say if the government shut off the water, if they will save the water, but in other hand, they're losing so much businesses.
Yeah.
Again, it's going to hit the economy, all the financial stuff in the, the
For sure.
taxes everyone pays and all that. A lot of jobs going to be gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what happens to all the farms? You know,
Yep.
what would happen to your farm if you couldn't get water anymore?
Yes, I mean, again, yeah, the plant's going to start dying, and then, of course, there won't be anything, right? Everything will be gone. Yes.
So you would be out of business without
Yes.
water.
Yes.
What would you do then?
Then probably the next part for that, I don't think. In India, to be very frank, a lot of farmers, due to that thing, they've done suicides.
Wow.
Because, again, that's the thing. After investing $100,000, $1 million, you're not going to, and then after a couple of years, a government going to come in or any sort of department going to come in, shut off your water, which is really you need to be a farmer, to grow your crops and all that. If everything will be gone, then what a person going to do, of course? There will be no point to live, right? If everything is gone.
Oh, I can't imagine going through that. Explain what's happening in India and in Punjab right now.
Right now in India, well, basically the government we have, which is Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister of India as of right now. So he's trying to bring everything under private sector. But the problem is he's only focusing on two companies, which is owned by Ambani, and then the other one is owned by Adani. So even, and then as of right now, there is MSP, which is, there's a price that is a minimum sale price set by the government that a farmer will expect at least what to get, right? And if everything goes under private sector, then yeah, everything will be gone over there too. Because government is not providing any type of subsidy. There's no guarantee what you're going to get. They're trying to take over all the fields and all that, yep.
Do you have a lot of family there still?
Oh, yes,
farming?
and then we have farm over there too.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what's happening with that? What's
As
your
of
family
right-
saying about
Well,
it?
even my dad, he is against of those new laws they're trying to bring in. And as of right now, everything is still going in a proper way, but the protest is still on. And the government haven't responded anything yet in support of farmers. Yes, they haven't done anything yet.
Why not? Why don't they care about what the farmers want?
Modi, he's acting as a dictator. To be very frank, as an Indian, I know in the world, the largest democracy or democratic, it's in India. But if you'll see today's government, I would say he's the biggest dictator or trying to be a dictator in the world, which is unacceptable, of course, because again, everyone has their own. I mean, like here, they're trying to shut off the water. We would say government makes law for people, but if that law is not being accepted or not acceptable for people, then doesn't make any sense to make that law, right?
Yeah.
Or bring that thing in, whatever they're trying to do.
So you see a real parallel between what's happening
Pretty much
in
same,
India
yeah,
and
it
water
is.
here.
Yeah, it's pretty much both governments are trying to kill the farmer. Yes.
What do they do for water back in India? Are there water supply issues? I mean, it's a hot and dry place in many parts
Yes,
of the country.
there is. Well, like here we have drip systems. Of course, again, that thing is really efficient. It saves water. In India, we have wheat and rice farming. And in that field, the way we water over there, we just turn on the tubel or the motor, and then the water goes to the whole field and all. It's an open water thing.
Yep.
Yeah. So that thing, and rice crop, it takes a lot of water to grow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, waters are going down and down in India. But again, that's the thing. If even the government over there, they can work so many things. I mean, if a government wants to do something in a good or a proper way, it can be done if they really want to. If they don't, then there are so many, I would say there are so many things they can say that they will just pretend. I mean, everything has a solution. Like even here, if they want to shut down the water, I would say instead of shutting down the water, find a better solution for everyone, for fishes as well, for farmers as well.
Yeah.
I mean, why would you save a fish and losing a farmer on the other hand? And why would you save a farmer and then losing the fish on the other hand? Instead of doing that, why not save both?
Absolutely.
Right? Do something that can be helpful for both things, right?
Absolutely.
Yep.
So why don't you think that's happening? You talked about kind of what you think the motivation is behind what's happening in India. What do you think what do you think the story is here? What is going on with people that they can't figure this out so far?
What I think, it's all about politics and votes. I mean, they're targeting one community. They're saying we're trying to save this community by letting this community go away. I mean, in India, like I've seen, even here though, I've seen some government officials, they do politics based on religion, right? Based on religion, which is, which is just for votes. I mean, those are just political statements by a political person, but they don't think whatever they say from their office or from a government office, whatever they say on the live telecast or by interview, that affects a lot on the people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how does that change here? How do we get this solved?
I would say government should come into the field, on the ground. They see how a farmer is doing. Just an example, like when I do herbicide, there's a creek going on by my field. I never do mixing over there. There's a reason, because I don't want to pollute the water. I always trying to be away as much as I could.
Yep.
Normally, I mix my mixture over here. I don't go by the creek to mix my herbicide. The main reason is, because I don't want to spill even a single drop of herbicide into the creek, because I know fish has a life too. They have heart too. I don't want to kill them, right?
Yeah. Plus, it's expensive.
Yes,
You don't want to waste any of it.
But to be very frank, I don't know the price. I'm a vegetarian. But again, life matters.
Yeah.
Yeah. For everyone's life matters, not just one, right? Yeah.
Oh, no, I mean the herbicide isn't cheap.
Yeah,
right?
It is, yeah.
You don't want to waste any of that.
Yeah. But, the way I think, I would rather waste the chemical instead of, letting it spill in a creek or trying to harm something. And of course, I don't want to do that. I mean, when I've got my pesticide license from Department of Agriculture, I've read all the handbook in really proper way, and then I've noticed what can harm, how can it be harmed. So I mean, it has all the descriptions how to do everything in a proper way, and then I am following it.
And there are a lot of rules to follow. How
Yes.
do you keep track of them all?
To be very frank, all the chemigation or herbicide, I do it by myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
don't
you
tell
have control.
Yeah, I don't tell anyone, even my dad, I don't tell him to do it because by age, I don't want my dad, let's say if he mixed something, let's say if he forgot to wear gloves and then apparently he sneezes it or something. So I do it by myself. I don't allow anyone else to do the herbicide or any chemical that can harm. Yep.
So you're pretty focused on the environment.
Yes.
And protecting it with your
I
farming.
tried to protect as much as I could, yes. Because even my religion in Sikhism, we have one prayer which is called Japji Sahib. In that, on the really last line, those are in Punjabi. It is, I'll tell it in Punjabi language.
Yeah, for sure.
Pavan Guru, Pani Pita, Mata Tarat Mohat, which means Pavan is air. That's our God. And then the water we treat is as a father. The earth we treat is as a mother. So basically it's all about environment.
Yeah.
And there's another prayer which we call Arti. That's again, if you do, there's a translation in English. It's all about environment. Yeah.
Stewardship and
Yes. And the main reason
I
I love environment, when I was a kid in India, we used to have so much greenery over there, so many plants. And then as of right now, the government, they focused on infrastructure, they focused on development. What happened? They've cut so many trees, which is now people are noticing it. When summer comes in, it's really hot. The main reason I love Whatcom County, greenery.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the way everyone saved the plants here, and then even as a farmer, we love to do planting. I mean, we try to plant around the field as much as we could, just to have more greenery as much as I could. Yep.
It's a lot to think about if you think about the whole system, right? And how our food is produced and all the things that have to happen. And just one or two things can go wrong, whether it's politics or whether it's a problem with the well, that can stop that food from growing, right?
Well, again, I would say our government should think about that. If there is water, then there is food. If there's no water, then there will be no food.
Well, thank you for sharing your story, and good luck to you as you're in that hard time where in some ways maybe there's not as much work with blueberries because you're just waiting, but it's a hard time because you're probably impatient and hoping that everything works so you can start reaping some of the benefits.
Oh, yes. And I mean,
of your
even
investment.
As a citizen of Whatcom County, I would love to help the way I could. I would really love to help the farmer, even the fishery person, everyone, because I don't want the fishery will be out of business, and I don't either want the farmer will be out of business. Everyone should stay in this business, and then they get what they expect to get, and then what they should get, right? Water, I mean, it's just politics again, because by shutting off the water, it's not gonna do anything at all. There are so many other things that they can do to help the farmer and then help the fishery personnel as well.
Well, thank you again for having me out here.
Thank you, Dylan, for your time.
Yeah, I really appreciate it.
Yep, I do.
This is the Real Food, Real People podcast. These are the stories of the people who grow your food.